Welcome in. This is Hype Factor, a Fantasy Critic podcast for all the Fantasy Critic enthusiasts out there who just can't get enough talking about Fantasy Critic. I'm one of your co-hosts, John32, and I am joined by my good friend Marcus. Marcus, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. A little exhausted after watching and trying to keep track of all of these showcases, John. There has been a lot over this past week, and I'm excited to get into it all with you tonight.
Yeah, I was with you, except today I got my second win, Marcus. I am back. I am excited. We are recording this on the day of the Nintendo Direct, and we're going to talk about it later. I'm really excited to break this all down with you. This is episode 22, and this is an emergency broadcast of Hype Factor, where we're going to be talking about Summer Game Fest, and specifically everything that was announced that's going to affect your Fantasy Critic teams for the rest of the season. So hold on to your hats. We're going to get into it right now.
Incoming enemy fighters. Prepare for launch.
So, no regular programming, Marcus. No hype check. No pixel prognostications today. Just all the announcements.
Summer Games Fest. That's it. We're going to try to do our best to get through. I'm sure that there might be some small stuff that we miss here and there. You know, a few may have slipped past the goalie. I don't know, but we're going to do our best, and we've got a lot of games to talk about here. Yeah,
there is a lot. Yeah, and we're going to try and make it as comprehensive as possible. Stay with us. We're going to go through each showcase to pick out our highlights, as well as the things that were Fantasy Critic relevant, as well as the things that maybe you want to avoid as not relevant for your particular teams. But the first one that's going to kick us off, 6-1 Indy. This was before Summer Game Fest. Our friend Kyle Stevenson and the 6-1 Indy team putting together quite a significant showcase with a number of games shown. I think it was it 61 games shown?
They did 61 games. They did 61 games, yes.
So it was a heavy hitter.
Yes.
So we have our kind of standouts for the show. We're not going to talk about all of them, but let's get going. The first one we wanted to talk about, which has a demo right now out, if you want to try it on Steam, is Twins of Aulus. So this is a vibrant action-adventure game. If anybody has been watching this game for a little bit, you kind of follow an adventurer who is attached to the spirit of an ancient warrior. So think of, the only thing that comes to my mind right now is like an astral chain where you kind of have these two characters that you're controlling both to not just do combat, but also to solve puzzles. So very cool looking game. No date yet. First time dev. Marcus, what did you think about this game? I think we both were pretty high on it.
Yeah, this was definitely one that jumped out at me as a game that I was interested in, but I thought it looks really, really good. I was looking a little bit more into it. It's got a Souls-like moniker. It's an action top down, reminded me a lot of Death's Door in the way that it played and kind of looked in terms of gameplay. Much brighter color palette though. I don't know. I mean, this is a TBA. We don't know when this is coming out. Probably that means probably not this year, but some of these smaller games, they can get dates relatively close to release. I wouldn't count on it, but I think it's one to probably at least keep on your radar moving forward.
Yeah. Until you get a date, I wouldn't necessarily move on it. Funny story about this one. I was just telling you off the air here, Marcus, that I actually got to go hands-on with this game with the developer at it was a Game Fest here in Toronto. And I liked it. And everybody I was with kind of gave the developer the same feedback that we thought he was onto something. So good on them. And I think that's one to, like you said, keep an eye on.
Yep.
So, the next game up may have some Fantasy Critic relevance, and it's not the first time it's been shown. It's Rain 98. This is, I think, a visual novel, yes. I don't know what it's about. It kind of looks like a futuristic Japan or futuristic Tokyo. But I recall it being, and it has just a later 2026 tag. So again, something to maybe watch for. I recall it getting some positive attention at, I think it was, I don't know if it was Tokyo Game Show or whatever was maybe it was PAX East. It was shown at something more recently where people were going hands on, and it was kind of getting a lot of positive notoriety for just the way it looked and what people were experiencing with that game. Hard to say. I haven't dove into it too much, but with the later 2026 tag, I think that's something worth noting and keeping an eye on.
Cool.
Yeah. Not too much to say about the next one except it looked cool, which was Blocks for Babies. I don't know. Did you see this one? I couldn't go through this list without talking about this game, which is, a 3D. It's Tetris, but then it kind of like morphs into like this 3D Tetris where you're actually like becomes a boomer shooter and you're shooting the blocks to eliminate the lines. So it's both boomer shooter and puzzle Tetris game in one. No date. Just wanted to say because I thought it looked cool.
Yeah, it looks interesting. It wasn't the one that jumped out at me, like one of the handful that jumped out at me and in the show, but it's got a cool premise and title, Blocks for Babies. Yeah, again, keep on your rate. Wanted to just file away in the back of your head.
Yeah, this is not a bid. This is not a bid. I'll put that out there. At least not right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I do think it's doing something cool and different and looks awesome. So you never know, but need more information first. Another one maybe worth mentioning was, again, no date, so not necessarily one that we're targeting for pickup yet, but Forklift Flower Pot, which some have described as kind of Outer Wilds meets a short hike. It looked cool. Again, no date to my eye, but something that might be worth putting on a watch list.
Well, Outer Wilds meets a short hike is a good little elevator pitch. So if it ends up meeting either of those things, both those games scored really well. So
that was that was it. That was the thing that drew me into it. Is like if they end up hitting, that could be a really interesting space. Again, a lot of this is innovation, and innovation can be scary because you don't know how it's going to reward you in Fantasy Critic, but at least they're trying something completely different. So maybe we'll turn this next one over to you. Please insert disc. Do you want to talk a little bit about this one?
Well, the thing that jumped out at me with this one, it's a horror game about navigating the underbelly of a 2000s era gaming console to restore its functionality. That's kind of the Steam description, I think. One of the devs, Night Signal and Entertainment, I think is the full name of the dev. They worked on Forbidden Solitaire, which just came out a month and a half ago as of recording. It scored pretty good. I think it's actually maybe a little lower than the total amount of scores. It's sitting at an 83 right now. I've played Forbidden Solitaire, John. It's probably about an 83, but I could see it being even a little higher than that. So anyways, that dev track record is good. Night Signal has recently done a well-scoring game. So that's what put this please insert disc. If it didn't have that, I'm not sure that I would even highlight it, to be perfectly honest, because it wasn't anything about the trailer that jumped out at me. It was really seeing the dev.
Yeah, I like these kind of horror games that take a spin on kind of the premise, and then also just the idea of kind of going back, like just a different way of portraying freakiness. It's kind of interesting.
Sure.
And those things can reward, but again, maybe a little bit more information first.
To play devil's advocate to myself, I guess there are a lot of these things, though. It's like you can get overwhelmed, and a lot of these kind of unusual horror game experiences, they don't always score well. But again, having that dev attached to it gives me a little bit more confidence, at least to keep it on my radar moving forward. I think it was just a TBA though, no date. So again, probably not something for this year.
And then maybe sticking with this horror theme, another one, which I do I'm not going out and picking this one up yet, but I think it's relevant because it has an October 29th date. So Anomalith, I think is how you pronounce it. This is again from the description, kind of a game that takes place in an alternate Japan where spatial anomalies are kind of appearing. You play as a young girl and kind of become an investigator. From the gameplay description, it's suggesting that it's kind of survival horror ish with mechanics including inventory and ammunition management, which I know you love, Marcus, firearm customization, and some other pieces. So this one I just thought it looked interesting. It actually has a date. I'm going to talk a little bit later about why I think some of these later year dates are becoming even more important in this particular season of Fantasy Critic. So I put that out there. I don't know if you had any other thoughts on that one.
Uh, no, other than it does have a relatively soon date on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it didn't necessarily jump out at me, but I don't know. It's always kind of interesting to pay attention to some of these indies that get highlighted with
Yeah.
dates at these showcases. So
I will say
maybe one
it
I need
didn't
to look
stand
into a
out
little
to
more.
me either. So it didn't stand out to me either when I first saw it. It kind of like you said, the horror genre and everything like that. I actually pulled this when I was trying to do a bit of a scan of like what people's game of show were. You know what I mean? Like where
Mm,
others were
okay, yeah,
commenting. So this is one that I think popped up at least on two lists. Can't remember which ones. And I just kind of said, okay, well, it actually has a date. Let me take a deeper dive. And that's kind of where it kind of
sure.
started. So yeah, so at first glance, it didn't necessarily do it for me either. So I'm saying not picking it up now, but I'm definitely going to hold it and in my mind and kind of sit on it for a while. Maybe I'll jump ahead to Grave Seasons, which I know we've talked about before. And I think the
Hmm.
biggest piece here is that the date has been changed to just fall 2026. So I think previously it had a release date or an earlier release window, and now it's fall 2026, which has given some people some pause and concern, including yourself. Any real worries yet, Marcus?
Well, I don't like it. So it would be one thing if they, because I think it was August 7th or 14th. It was the first half of August was the date that they had previously. So it would be one thing if they just pushed it a month, but had it said October the 12th. We're now releasing October. That would feel better than going from August 7th to fall. Like that nebulousness of the delay, I guess, is a little worrisome. I own this now in two leagues, including Super League. So I don't feel great about that. Again, people that see this game and had played it back at PAX East really seem to like it. So I'm still confident that the game will be good when it comes. It's just whether or not now it
Hmm.
comes this year. So that's my worry. And I
Um,
don't think it was
and
announced at 6-1. Like at 6-1 the date hadn't
yeah,
changed, but since
no,
then
yeah,
we've
it
gotten this
had
delay.
since
Yeah.
changed.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They just showed it again, so I threw it in
Yep.
here. Um, Another horror game to talk about quickly, The Florist, with just a coming soon tag, a third person survival horror game. I thought this actually looked really pretty.
Yeah.
Um, that's part of the, again, it did just catch the eye, and I think it was on some others like lists of games. So
Again
coming
with these
soon
horror
sounds
games,
good.
it's like you got to pick something that stands out about
Yeah,
one thing about
yeah,
it, and absolutely, it's the art style. It's a bright, colorful, very beautiful horror game.
horror
That
game. Yeah,
yeah, there's some contrast there. I think that could be interesting. Um,
yeah.
it's still only a coming soon. I think this was highlighted as well. I was on their page at the London Games Showcase recently.
Hmm.
Maybe it was John from Gaming in the Wild who had I know listens to the show. I think he had talked about it as well. Maybe that's where I had heard it about it also.
Previously, he may
So
have gone hands on because I think he was there.
yeah,
So
yep,
we
yep.
should
And
message him.
so we should, John, if you're
Yeah,
listening, let us know if we're right. So, anyways, yeah, I I think this one has some potential. Let's just say that
yeah,
I think this has
yeah.
potential. Put again another one to file away for future consideration.
And then the final one from the showcase, from 6-1 Indie Showcase that we wanted to highlight was Feather's Edge. And maybe I'll let you speak to this one, Marcus.
Yeah, this is my personal highlight. I think it looks fantastic. I think it really reminded me of a game that I played recently, Bo Path of the Teal Lotus. It's a very beautiful hand drawn art style, 2D Metroidvania. Looks very, you're darting around. Um, Looks like a cool traversal, like dashing, lots of dashing. It looked like. I don't know if you play as kind of like a fox bird like character. I'm not sure if it. I don't know. It's cool art style. Um, the one thing of note when I was looking into it, though, the developer goes by the name of Clockwork Acorn, and their previous game was Terra Nil. Very different game, but a game that scored and performed pretty good in terms of reviews. So Terra Nil has currently sitting at an 82 on OpenCritic. The date, again, another TBA, so we don't know when this is coming. Probably a good chance it's not this year, but I think that Feather's Edge has the potential to score quite well when it eventually comes out.
Yeah. Good thing to keep an eye on. Add to watch list potentially, or your 2027 watch list, which we'll talk about as well tonight. The other thing was Terra Nil is kind of call it a real-time strategy environmental game. For those that didn't play,
it's almost like a reverse city builder or something. Isn't that how they marketed it?
And it was very rewarding. Like, I just found like for that type of game, I was playing on mobile. I just found it very rewarding. So like that's something special. We could take something like that and transform it into that. I think that demonstrates like a pretty deft hand. So anyway, worth noting, worth adding to a watch list. So pretty brief departure now, quickly, from showcases to other news that we think are, I would say, relevant within this time frame / period that were announced either before or during or after, but not necessarily in a showcase. Okay. We have 4 items here. I think all are worth mentioning. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4 got dated for October 23rd. And I think the big narrative here is that people overall, not me necessarily, but people overall are seeing it as so it's showing better than the last one. Let's put it that way. Showing better enough that it's probably getting a little bit more hype, attention, and even bids. Not necessarily something I would go after just because of the volatility of the score over the last little while, but you do have a date in October. It's showing better. People are a little bit more excited. They took a little bit more, I think, development time with this one. So I don't know. Marcus, any thoughts on Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4?
Yeah. It's not something that I will be considering adding to my team. I do think that it's one of those franchises that certainly somebody in your league will be adding to their team.
Yeah.
It's one of those games that I'm just happy to let somebody else deal with that. Let somebody else add it and deal with the volatility, as you said. It could score okay. I think really the ceiling with a Call of Duty game these days is probably low 80s.
That's a ceiling, but more likely a high 70.
Yeah. And it could go as low into. I don't know if they've ever gone quite into the 60s, but I don't know. It just I don't know. Xbox these days is kind of up and down in terms of, and Call of Duty I don't think has the cachet that it once did. I don't know. I don't know that people are clamoring for Call of Duty like they once were.
This other one, then maybe similarly, I don't know. I think it probably has a little higher potential. Planet Zoo 2, dated for October of this year. Planet Zoo 1 scored an 81 with a pretty high critic recommend rating. I think this one is a bit of a sneaky pickup. I've been supportive of those that are kind of going after it. I guess it depends on the depth of your league and all sorts of other considerations. But I mean, it shows it has a date.
It's one of those sequels we talked about last episode. So chances
83 incoming, right?
It could be. It's going to be plus or minus 2 points of the original, which isn't bad. So it's probably got a relatively narrow range. Although, would you consider this one? If you recall, John, it was kind of that double A games were the ones that were more likely to be a little lower on the sequel. Would that be what this is? That kind of feels maybe like that double A-ish. So I don't know. I mean, I hadn't even heard of this. I didn't hear this announcement until I saw it on the show doc. So I'm kind of going blind with this. But in terms of like the sequel and the original game scoring an 81, that's not bad. So.
Well, people are moving on it, even in Champions League. So you gotta
really
going. It's going.
Not in our division, have they?
No.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens this week. I think it's gonna be a bloodbath this week, but we'll get into that. This one is a bit of a sneaky pickup for those that have not Champions League, for those that allow remakes and in your kind of eligibility spots, Steins Gate reboot has an August date, and so Marcus, there's a little bit of controversy with this one. First, it got dated for August in Japan, and so there was some concern that it would um, be tagged as kind of released internationally and may not necessarily get scores. Now it looks like it's a worldwide release. Hopefully, I'm not misquoting for that same August date. And Steins Gate, the original, scored a 87.
Wow, I didn't know that. Wow.
I didn't want to tell you, but felt obliged.
Yeah.
So I've picked this up in one league. I think it's a sneaky little pickup to round out a team. Again, August, no one's really paying attention to it for the most part. Yeah, I don't know. If you're able, it might be worth just considering. Like, obviously, we're going to talk a lot of options tonight, but there's going to be a lot of people fighting for the same, food in the water, bait in the water, right? So having a little bit of a alternative is not that bad. And then I'm going to turn it to you to talk about this last one. Why don't you go for it?
So this is one that I'm not entirely sure where it got announced. I think it may have just been a trailer that happened to come out around Summer Games Fest. I'm not sure if it was a part of any show. I apologize if I'm wrong, but I didn't catch where this news came from. I think I must have first caught it that it had been updated in the Fantasy Critic website, but I'm not sure where. Anyways, a trailer was announced for this game. It's Chronoscript, The Endless End. And part of the reason why it caught my interest was that this was a game that was showcased at must have been a Sony State of Play last year. I want to say last fall. And I thought it looked awesome. It's a Metroidvania. I don't think there's combat's more of an exploration focus. Really cool art style. There's kind of a 2D where you're jumping into a page and kind of like this library book kind of thing. And then you're also out in a 3D world. The new trailer said that it's coming out fall 2026. It's got some pretty big names attached to it in terms of on the development team. There's the designer, the one that is, I guess, primarily responsible for the art. It worked most notably on Bayonetta. Music, one of the contributors is Yasunori Mitsuda. Notably from Chrono Trigger, many others. And the other thing that struck me when I was looking at Schrodinger's Cat and Opus Prism Peak, the same publisher of those games is publishing Chronoscript. Suisha Games. These are all some kind of makes me very interested. I would have loved a date rather than a fall 2026 window, but I think this has some potential to do actually quite well. So I don't know if I'm going to be putting any bids on. I haven't quite considered it yet. I haven't added it to this point, but it was one of those games that has been on my radar since I saw it at the Sony State of Play last year. So in really deep leagues, it might be worth considering. For all the reasons I've said.
It's a swing. Yeah. It's a swing that you might have to take. Yeah. I didn't know about this until I saw it on the show doc, similarly to you and the other one. And I kind of went back and watched the trailer and I was like, yeah, I can see it. So Suisha Games as a publisher, interesting. Just let it ride. Just keep betting on red. As long as it keeps hitting, just keep betting on red.
That's right.
No, it's really interesting. I think according to AI, it was the Future Game Show that it may have been shown at this update. So
okay.
I have no idea if that's accurate.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe not. Yeah.
But still, everything you said, I think holds true. I think I will be putting this on my watch list. In some ways, having the window right now, maybe we'll just flag it now. There were a lot of things that we have found out in terms of dates through this last couple weeks. And there's also a whole host of things that have not been dated, which I think many people expected to have dates by this point in time. And so that's making a lot of people really nervous, a little trigger happy. Um, and for myself, I don't want to like overreact to that, but having a pretty solid watch list of options that can round out a team later in the year becomes super, super important when you're kind of just sitting, and now we're potentially waiting till September for Gamescom and other opportunities for things to get dated, right? So I just think something like this that's fall. I know, like, again, I'm probably not bidding on it yet, but definitely adding it to watch lists, definitely paying attention to when it, um, might get released. So, and if you have like unlimited drops, then
If you have
and
unlimited
like no,
drops, you've got room on your
yeah,
roster. This is something that you could
yeah,
probably get, and like
stash,
you could stash it, yeah, and
yeah,
just wait and see if you've got some space.
yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, because in leagues where that's an option for me, I know I was stashing a bunch of crap, like that. Just obviously you got pushed out into 2027, or like the Witcher 3 DLC and stuff that just didn't come, and now
Yep.
it's like, okay, now I have to actually fill it with real things, or wait and kind of just have some of these other options available to me. So yeah. So those are the things that didn't fit into any of the showcases nicely. So we're gonna get back into it, and kind of, we're not gonna go in any specific order, but we're just gonna like talk about the different showcases, obviously the big ones, and highlight things that were notable. So Marcus, the mix showcase. This was one
Yes.
that I paid only a little bit of attention to. Did you want to talk a little bit about you kind of flagged from here?
Yeah, I mean, they showed a lot. The most notable stuff for me from the mixed showcase. This is actually one that I watched, or at least
Mm,
watched every announcement and then kind of like
properly.
skipped forward. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, kind of properly. I didn't sit down and watch every minute, but I kind of like skipped through all of the announcements. I had the YouTube video pulled up at least. Okay. A lot of the things that were notable are things we've talked about in some capacity before. They're just shown again. So things like Grave Seasons, we've already talked about. Kid Bash, we talked about last episode. Lucid, we've talked about a bunch of times. Well Dweller, all of these were present at the Mixed Showcase. The one that jumped out at me from this showcase that apparently is not new, like it has been shown elsewhere before, but it really struck me is it seems to be doing a lot of things interesting, and it's got a really striking, distinct art style. And that game is called Sonzai. It's been in development for a while. I took a look at the Steam page. There was a demo that was released in 2021. Um, and it's listed as a JRPG hack and slash. Like I said, gorgeous, unique art style. It's still a TBA. I have to believe it's kind of close. It may not be coming this year, but I think it's something to have on your radar because it feels like it's one of those things, one of those indie games that's doing a lot of things and differently. It looks unique. It kind of feels like almost like a 2D Persona ish. It's like a fantasy kind of ish Japan setting, I think.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. It really, that was the one of this showcase that really struck me as something that has some fantasy critic potential, at least that we hadn't heard of before.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. It's quite, um, it pulls your attention for sure. I can see why this one stood out to you.
Yep.
And to hear that it's been in development for so long, like that's, yeah. I'm assuming it's close. I gotta dig into this one a little bit more, but I definitely will add this to my watch list as well. Um, yeah. Thank you for that, because I didn't have this one on my list. With Kid Bash, I think we had talked about it as one of the, but it's 2027. Is it my imagination, or did we
Has it
learn
got a
for,
year?
yes,
I
early
did. I didn't.
2027?
Oh, okay. I didn't
Yeah,
catch that
yeah,
part.
yeah. So
Okay.
that's out as an option for this year. I did think
Okay.
that was relevant. The others, I don't think we got any dates for. Well Dweller, nothing else has changed, but
Unfortunately, no. Well
um,
Dweller released another demo. I think it was different than
mhm.
the demo they released like a month and a half prior. Um, Gotta believe that means it's pretty close. I think we'd always kind of been banking on um, the developer's name is Kyle Thompson, and has released every game that he's ever released in August. So we're kind of still tracking in that direction. Um, And Lucid was originally a Q1 game. It's been delayed to summer. It's still listed as summer 2026. So fingers crossed on that one. And then we've already talked about Grave Season. So
Yep. Yep. And I have Lucid. I need that to come through. Let's stick with indies a little bit. Let's talk about the Day of the Devs.
sure.
And from that list, again, pulling out probably just the things that we think are Fantasy Critic relevant. There's obviously a lot there. It's going to be impossible to talk about everything. One that I did want to flag, because I don't remember if I've talked about this one or not in recent months. I think I talked about it earlier in the year, which is Screenbound. And I know that Kind of Funny had pulled this out as, I think, one of their like games of show type of thing. Dated for September 10th. For those that haven't seen it, I would suggest pulling it up. It's a 2D and 3D platformer where you are in a 3D platforming world, but with a Game Boy in front of you, essentially. So you're playing 2D along that Game Boy, but then also solving puzzles in the 3D environment. So you're doing both at the same time, which is a bit disorienting, but it's quite innovative. And I can't believe they've actually pulled this off. I kind of want to dig into what people are saying about potentially if they've had the chance to go hands-on and what that looks like. But I definitely think this is one to watch out for. I don't have much else, but I thought that was relevant that it got dated.
Yeah, but I echo everything you said. It looks very interesting. We'll see if they're able to pull it off. Like I could see it being a challenge watching, your character holding this little Game Boy and you're kind of doing the same moves that are on the Game Boy as your character is doing in the 3D world. Like it's I did hear I think I must have heard the same Kind of Funny episode because they were talking about this as well, and it's not just like a platformer. Like there are other cartridges that you put into your Game Boy device and it changes the perspective. So like there are different styles of games. So there's going to be like a top down, like 2D Zelda style and very cool concept.
I just think about the puzzling aspect of that and like what that could mean. I'm not good at stuff like that, but I appreciate that it really changes, how you have to approach essentially the puzzles and the game design. Like, I don't know, like it's quite disorienting, but it could, again, if it pays off, could be huge. Well, we'll see. Anyway, I don't know what to do with that one. This is one that I've been like tempted to add all year. Yeah. And I'm still not quite there, but the date is it like pushing me towards this, at least maybe giving it a shot somewhere. And we'll talk about this a bit, but it becomes like, what does it replace? Like,
Well, I think that a game like that has such a huge range of potential outcomes, right? Like you could see it's doing something so unique and innovative that high 80s might not be out of the question. But if it really misses the mark, it could be low. It could be a low score.
Yeah. Next up was we want to flag Trine 6 with a September 17th date. It looks fine. Trine 5 got a 77. Yeah. I don't know. Established franchise, maybe some points if you need it. That's it. How much more to add there?
Yeah, that's about I'm probably a pass. I don't know that a Trine 6 is going to outscore a Trine 5 by a ton, maybe a point or two or something. So if really what you want is at most a 78, 79, then sure, but probably not. Probably a good pass, I would say.
Yeah. The next one's a little bit more interesting, which is Tenebrous Somnia with an October 16th date. Now, this is a 2D retro survival horror adventure game. And I guess the nuance here is that it has live action cutscenes integrated into this. So, I don't know, looks cool. Has a date. Again, doing something maybe slightly different by having a little bit of this live action mixed in. Could be something, but not necessarily throwing bid on it just yet.
Yeah, I feel like this is a bit like the Screenbound one, doing something kind of unique in terms of the live action FMV stuff that they're doing, and survival horror. If that's done well, it could be good. But I also think
Yeah.
that again, it could miss on some of that stuff. So I hope it does well though, because like these are the types of small, like these indie, just like Screenbound. I hope it does well because they're pushing the envelope in
Mm-hmm.
various directions, and it's good to see. So hopefully they're able to make it work, I guess.
This is interesting. The next one, just want to talk about Apple Crumble, which
Yep.
just has a later 2026, but is from the creator of Duck Detective, and it's a mystery thriller. Marcus, I know you recently played Duck Detective,
The first
so
one. Yeah. I mean,
overall thoughts?
so the Duck Detective game, the first game, so I'm assuming the second game probably are not Marcus games. Like I wasn't the biggest fan of the first game, but it's not because it wasn't well made. It was more just that's not the style of game that I
Your
tend to
style,
vibe
yeah,
with. Apple Crumble's a little bit different. The one thing that's interesting is these devs, they put out games at a pretty good clip.
yeah.
The first Duck Detective game came out May 2024. The second one was like May 2025. And now they've got Apple Crumble, which is scheduled to come out later this year. I feel like this has a chance to, it has, we talked about big ranges. This one has a fairly narrow range.
Small,
Like
yeah,
you're talking
yeah.
about like high 70s to low 80s,
70s, low
probably.
80s.
Yeah.
Yep.
And,
Duck
you know,
Detective: The Secret Salami, which is I think the most recent, got a 79. So,
well,
and I think they all kind
the
of
Ghost
hover.
of Glamping is their more recent one. I think it was a little bit higher,
Oh,
81. I want to say 81.
okay. So it's
Yeah.
in that exactly within that range.
Yeah.
So I don't know why I thought Secret Salami was the more recent one. Anyway, yes.
It's because it
So
only came
Apple
out 2
Crumble.
years ago, John. You'd think that
Yeah,
was the
yeah,
more recent one.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then the last one, which we've already talked about a little bit, Prove You Are Human, with
Yep.
still a TBA date.
Yeah, but we see more of
Ah,
this game. This is the Thousand Times Resist devs, Sunset Visitor. We see more of it, and it, probably honestly, a Thousand Times Resist, John. I don't know if we've talked about it on this show, but I didn't really vibe with that game either. Like it wasn't, but
mhm.
most people do. Most people really love it. It scored exceptionally well. Prove You're Human is one of those games. I don't care if I like it. I'm adding it to my fantasy team wherever I can. When it comes out. Probably not this year. I don't think anybody should really be rushing to add this to their team. But this is one that you're filing away probably for next year or potentially even the year
Yeah.
after. Yeah.
Top of your 2027 list kind
Yeah.
of thing, potentially. Yeah, no, 1,000 Times Resist did vibe with me, and it's interesting that it was Fantasy Critic that got me into it because it became one of those like watch list items. Then you follow it along, and then it gets the release date, and then it crushes for Fantasy Critic, and you dive down that hole and then play the game, and you're just like,
Yeah.
so it gets you into it. Okay, now we're going to turn the channel a little bit, talk about some of the, I guess we would call more mainstream showcases. And with all of these, what we're going to try and do is right at the jump for each of them, talk about the things that are coming out in 2027, get them out of the way, make a mental note, and then move on to 2026. So that we can actually break down where we think there's fantasy cricket relevance for the stuff that's actually coming out this year. And we're not going to touch on everything, but just the big stuff. So, Summer Game Fest. Stranger Than Heaven, 2027, which is interesting because that was more recently people were bidding on this, hoping that winter
Right.
meant this year.
That was the winter. This winter.
Winter.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Resident Evil Code Veronica Remake, 2027. Wolf Among Us 2, 2027. Wolf Among Us Remastered, Holiday 2026. We'll touch on that in a second.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 7 Part 3 Revelation, 2027. Yep. And then there were 2 Cuphead games shown, which I think are relevant again, but likely 2027. No date, nothing shown.
If that. There's no even.
You're right. It could be even further out.
It could be further out.
Yeah.
Especially given the Cuphead.
So,
remember, Delicious Last Course took forever to come.
That's true. That is true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is a crazy list. that will influence next year's draft. So everybody stay tuned for that. Stranger Than Heaven had Tupac in it, Marcus. I don't know why, but
It well, so
yeah.
let's talk about Tupac. I'm not the biggest like music. Certainly not like the hip hop kind of music from the what would have been the mid to late 90s
90s.
90s. But this seemed to cause quite the reaction, let's say. And
Yeah.
I do wonder. I think the reaction, at least in the circles that I had to be in, was like, what the fuck? Like this doesn't necessarily sit well with me. Like it feels too
Yeah.
weird. And so I do
Yeah.
wonder, have they kind of shot themselves in the foot a little bit with this collaboration, I guess we say, with Tupac's estate? Like I don't know
Yeah.
how this is going to sit well. Is it going to kind of inch reviews maybe a little bit towards the negative?
Lower.
Yeah.
It
I
might
don't know.
cap a bit of a ceiling. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's too early to tell, but the initial reaction, I think you're right. The estate issue is coming up as a bit of a
Yeah.
negative, and if that enters into the zeitgeist, it could lower, overall enthusiasm. Let's say, I don't know. It's so far away
Yeah.
that by the time that it actually comes out, people might like just. I'm still
Do
like
you think do
everybody's
you think
also
they're
like,
gonna? This is such a weird thing to be doing. Like even me, who doesn't like know that much about Tupac or whatever, like it was
yeah,
never in
it's
that
just
scene.
weird. The
It's
fact
just
that
a
he's
strange
gone. It's
sort of
like,
thing.
yeah,
Yeah,
I compare it a little bit almost, but it's not exactly the same to the AI debate, right? Like it can influence how people like observe or
right.
interact with the game. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I still probably, you know, if someone was like, "Do you want this on your team next year?" I'd probably still say yes,
yeah,
right? Like I'm probably not going to think that this is going to tank the thing. So, yeah.
yeah.
So great list of games, 2027.
I
But
mean,
let's
Final
get
Fantasy
into
Revelation. I think like just to make one statement on that, we're gonna have to come up with 2027 is shaping up to be
I
a
know,
pretty incredible year, and like
I know,
there are many games that are going to be vying for like that potentially top
top
number
spot.
one pick,
Hmm.
and that's one of them, right? Early 2027. Have they said
February,
early
yeah.
or it was spring or something?
I thought it was early. The
Yeah,
February slots are filling up.
yeah.
Like, so there's gonna be a lot of early games.
We're going to
Yeah.
be talking about more of them, in a moment here. But like, in
Hmm.
addition to the ones that we already know about that are um, very high profile, we've talked about
Yep.
in the past. I remember with Matt. Hickar W. We were like, this is probably a top pick for next year, and this is yeah.
Yeah.
So like, there have been a bunch of them already, and it feels like there was 4 more that were announced
At
this
least.
week that could have been in
Yeah. I
that
mean, maybe that's
conversation.
good. I mean, it might make the draft a little easier, or not. I don't know. But and then you just gotta rank them. But it's we've been spoiled. I think. I think the general sense, looking at Summer Game Fest, is there's a lot coming out. There is a huge volume of games both now and in the next 12 months, um, which is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
For Fantasy Critic, it makes it a little tougher. You got to wade through even more. But yeah, 2027 looking good.
Hmm.
So let's go through the stuff they showed that we might want to talk about in terms of 2026. There wasn't, I would say, a ton of Fantasy Critic relevant games for this year, maybe across the board, but we'll talk about that a little bit more. Um, First one, Star Wars Galactic Racer. We already saw that. It's already dated. We know that. Let's skip that. We've talked about it ad nauseum. This is an interesting one. End of Abyss game shown with an October 1st release date from the former Little Nightmare devs.
Yep.
Not sure what to do with this one,
Probably
honestly.
pass. Probably pass.
Yeah.
But I could also see this one settling right in, like Reanimal did,
Hmm.
like the Little Nightmares games. Those first 2 ones did, in that high 70, low 80 kind of range. I think there's better options out there that we've already talked about or that we're going to talk about, but it's not terrible either if you happen to be in a
Yeah.
really deep league. Yeah.
Yeah. we're the important thing is here you're going to be competing for all the top games we're going to talk about tonight. So having a list of your backup options if you're not successful in bidding is going to be really important. Um, you thought we weren't going to talk about DLC, but we're going to talk about it. Mafia: The Old Country Man of Honor expansion with an August 11th release date. I mean, it looked like more Mafia. I mean, the game did okay, but I'm kind of passing on
Hard
DLC at this
pass.
point.
Yeah,
Hard pass.
definitely
Okay,
hard
great.
pass. Especially given the what did the score of the Old Country end up settling in at?
I think
About
it started high
74,
and then started
75?
tanking.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think it eventually is 74. Oh, it got
Yeah.
even lower. So yeah, let's just avoid.
Yeah.
Um, it started much higher than that. Next up, a game that is a sequel, direct sequel, Marcus.
Yes. We mentioned this
I don't
last
know if,
episode actually, and I think
yeah, Lords of the Fallen 2.
this is one of those double A ones that the first one didn't score that great. I don't have like a ton of faith that this is going to be the Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 of this year.
Hmm.
So no, I probably would pass on Lords of the Fallen 2.
Yeah, but fall 2026,
Fall
if you're
2026.
desperate.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. And this last one here on this list of games shown at Summer Games Fest is probably the most Fantasy Critic relevant thing that they showed, which was Star Wars Zero Company getting dated for August 27th. So,
Yeah.
um, if you don't know, Star Wars Zero Company is like Star Wars and XCOM.
Yep.
This has been on my watch list, and many others have drafted this game since the start of the year. I was surprised that some people were caught off guard. They didn't know about this game, but I guess it's just the sickos in Fantasy Critic are always watching this stuff. It's coming. I was actually surprised by this. I didn't think it would land this year, and
Same. Same. Yeah.
I'm
I
jealous
thought
of
it was
those
going to be
that
Galactic
had it.
Racer was this year, and then this
Yeah,
it would end up getting
yeah,
pushed to next year.
that's exactly what I thought. Yeah, so good on you. I think this one is worth bidding on. So if it's available, which it wasn't in any of the leagues I'm in, but if it's available, I think this is worth a bid. How
I
about
agree.
you?
I agree. No, I agree.
Yeah,
I
and
100% agree.
and
Yep.
maybe a substantial bid. I
Could
think you're
be.
going to be competing for this if it's not already gone. So we're recording this after the first bidding cycle, after the first Saturday night. So it may have already been gone. If it's not, this is one that you want to target. The kind of final game from quote unquote Summer Games Fest that we wanted to highlight was an indie game that we already knew about and has already been shown previously. And it wasn't in the showcase, I don't believe, but it was on, I believe, the gaming floor, like the actual conference floor, which is Forever Ago. Was dated or has a date of October 8th. I can't remember if that we already knew that or not.
We did not.
Published by Annapurna. This game continues to look well from people that went hands on with it. Seems like it's getting some really positive buzz. I don't know, Marcus, anything else to add on this game, Forever Ago?
No, I like this one too, actually, John. This is like you said, an Annapurna published game. I think this also came up in our conversation with Matt a couple
Mm-hmm.
episodes ago. But at that point, it just had either a 2026 or maybe fall 2026 window.
Mm,
And so, no, I think this is, you know, as we've talked about, as we've covered on the show, Annapurna games um, can always not hit the highs that we always think the publisher is associated with. So they do have a decent amount of games that are in the mid to low 70s range. But they also have games like Mixtape that score really, really well. And I think Forever Ago is, at least at this point, seems to be trending towards one of those better
yeah.
ones. And so I do think it's probably one of those ones to consider. I like that October 8th date. This is, probably one of the better ones that I would consider putting a bid on, that we're going to talk about here today. Just in terms of like the potential, the date, kind of the safety of it. Yeah, it's a good one, I think.
Yeah, for me, it kind of maybe falls into like the second tier of what to bid on. If we were going to like rank where things stand, only because of the variability within the Annapurna, and
Sure.
we don't know. But I think you're right; it's trending in the right direction. If I was desperate, not even desperate, if I needed to fill a spot, and I don't win the bids on kind of some of the bigger titles that I feel a little bit more confident in, this I would feel good about taking a flyer on and throwing
Yep.
into those spots. Yeah, so that was Summer Games Fest. Um, Funny, we're going out of order a little bit, but let's turn our attention to Sony, who went up earlier that week. And again, this is happening before the first bidding cycle, so it's likely things here are already kind of actioned. But if not, you'll want to jump into it. So starting again, 2027, the two big names for 2027 in the state of play was one, Tomb Raider, the new Tomb Raider game, which was delayed into 2027. So that's Fantasy Critic relevance for anybody that had a bid on those games. And then the second piece that we saw was the new God of War game, God of War Lao Fei, also 2027. Looked great. A highlight for me. I know you're not as big on it yourself, Marcus, but
Well, I may not be on it, be as high on it personally, and it's really just like I'm tired of God of
you don't
War.
want to play.
I'm just like
Yeah,
I've played a lot of God of War lately, and I've had enough for the moment. But for fantasy, this is one of those ones that should be competing for your number one overall
top spot.
pick for next year. Jason Schreier had tweeted out that even though it didn't get even a 2027 window, so that expect that it's not that far off or something along those
Yeah.
lines, right? So
Well, they showed the first 20 minutes of the damn thing,
yeah,
so like
yeah, exactly.
it felt pretty
So
polished to me. I don't know,
yeah,
so
yeah. So I think that this is probably in competition for that number one pick next year.
all right. Okay, a couple quick mentions. Wolverine still looks great. Tilton fighting game still looks great. Still August. Both those games staying with their release dates, staying with their awesomeness. No worries there. Okay, then the big news. Some of the big news of the game of the I've lumped these together. This is a series of games that all got dates that, maybe with the exception of one or two, are pretty much picked up in all the leagues that I'm in, and I presume
Yep,
are picked up in most leagues. But we're going to run through them. So we got dates for Onimusha Way of the Sword, September 25th. Great. Excellent.
yep,
We got dates for Ace Combat 8, October 2nd. Uh, Phantom Blade Zero, October 29th. Control Resonant, this is the big one. Control Resonant dated this year, September 24th. Oh my God.
yep.
People are freaking out. And then Silent Hill Townfall, which I also think, first of all, you outbid me on this game in Division 6 of Champions League.
Well, I bid
I
the
still,
same as you, and I got the tiebreaker. Wasn't that what
oh,
it
the
was?
tiebreaker, even
Yes.
worse,
Yeah,
even worse.
that's
Yeah,
right.
September 24th. I was holding out hope this wouldn't actually land this year and I wouldn't
Mhm.
feel so bad, but it also lands this year. And I see you've added 40 and 46% of the league. So this is one that's probably out there, maybe
It might
available.
be. I mean, I feel like
Yeah.
46% feels low to me, but maybe that's just the
Hmm.
leagues that I'm in tend to be a little bit more competitive than the average league. But I'm thinking there's a lot of dead leagues. Like I feel like there's still probably a decent chance it's not owned. But of the games that we
Hmm.
mentioned, even Ace Combat 8 has a higher ownership. I think it was in the 60s.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It was on.
Townfall,
Yep.
Silent Hill Townfall, the last two Silent Hill games that have come out in each of the last 2 years are both mid 80s, mid to high 80s. So uh, even if Townfall doesn't quite hit those highs, I think it's probably pretty safe to be over 80. So if it happens to be available, this is a really solid pickup.
Agreed. Agreed. And that's quite a rush of games all coming out within pretty much a
Yes.
month of each other.
Yeah.
I don't know. And it only gets worse. So I don't
It's
know
one of
how
those
this is
things
better
like
than
I
going
think
up
that,
against GTA, but
in terms of like just the industry and the success of
mhm.
those developers, I worry for that. In terms of like Fantasy Critic, um, you know, they'll all get reviewed. I feel a little bit for the reviewers having to put in like that is a really hectic, crazy time. There's going to be some
I am,
reviewers putting in some hours, I suspect. But
I mean,
yeah,
maybe it's worth mentioning here. Like these games, bigger titles, bigger profile, bigger publishers, no issues. For some of those indie games we just mentioned, I do worry. We've been banking a lot on indie games this year, to round out rosters. I do worry that stuff's going to get lost in the mix when September and October roll around. Like
I
if you
think
have games that are in
there's
the
gonna be
mix
ones that people expect scores for
to get
that
scores,
don't end
yeah.
up getting scored. That will almost certainly. We just got a score for Phenopolis, which is a game we talked about.
Hmm.
I don't know I think it was last episode, and
Something like that.
recently, and that one
Hmm.
was one of the higher profile indies coming out around that time. The dev had done a decent amount previously that had all got scored, and it took, geez, darn near a month to get a
If not
score.
more. Yeah.
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 So yeah.
Yeah.
With all these
I
games
don't
kind of
know.
in late September, early October now, it could be a little tricky. I'm not so worried about something like Forever Ago. That's got an
Mhm.
Annapurna publisher,
Yeah. It's got the
but
profile.
maybe the what was it, the horror game with the FMV live
Yeah.
action? That could be a one that is a little bit trickier, because I don't think that has a well-known publisher. I shouldn't say
Yeah.
that. I actually have no idea who the publisher is, but like if it doesn't have a bigger publisher like a Fellow Traveler or an Annapurna or something like that, I think those are the ones that I'd be maybe just a
Yeah.
little more hesitant with all of these big games coming out in that September, October window.
It also makes me nervous for any indie game that doesn't have a release date yet, and there's a few.
Yeah, because they
Um,
may just push
there's
just
a
to
big
try to get
list.
out of it, get out of the
Yeah.
space. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Which is concerning for this. And maybe this creates a bit of a bias as we're talking about this towards bidding or trying to round out your roster with those bigger titles first before kind of,
If you
even
can, a
if
lot of
the,
these, like we said, are already gone, right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
so,
But Townfall, yes, pay attention to Townfall.
yeah,
The other kind of big news, Fantasy Critic news, was the confirmation. I think there were some rumors here. Confirmation that Rayman Legends Retold is coming out, and it's coming out this year, October 1st. This was pretty good. This was a pretty big reveal, with a closest date. The original, I think, had a 90. Why don't you talk a little bit about this game, Marcus?
yeah. So I put in two big bids in the two leagues where remasters are eligible, that I play in, and or this is a remake. This has got to end up classified as a remake, I believe.
I think it's remake. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I think actually the all league but super league, this is ineligible. All four of the or
Mm,
three of the leagues that I play in are eligible, but my other roster was full, and I don't think I could
mm.
drop anything. So, anyways, only the two leagues I put bids on, pretty big bids. I'm quite confident in this game. I might be a little biased. I love the original Rayman Legends. Um, Legit one of the best 2D platformers maybe ever made. Like it is so damn good. And so I thought it looked fantastic. Uh, Again, Legend scored a 90 on Open Critic.
Yeah.
I think that this is a lock for high 80s, lock, and
Nice.
with the potential to
Yeah.
go into the low 90s. So I was quite happy to spend a good chunk of my budget. I think in our BFAM league, I spent
1.
31. Yeah. And
Oh, I
then
know it was 31. Because I
31.
thought I should have spent 32.
And then
I said that to myself. It was so,
Tales from the Backlog was the other league, and I think I might have bid 27
yeah.
in that one.
I think I bid 21 in the BFAM league where you beat me on it. So
Yeah.
could have gone higher. But
Yeah.
I didn't think there'd be a lot of competition. So happy to see. I think there is a lot of interest and people are paying attention where it's eligible. So that's great. And I believe this game comes with, is it the original? Like you get 2 games in one?
Yeah, so
Can't remember what they're packing in
the
here.
original Rayman Legends also had all the Rayman Origins levels in it, but they're bringing forward the Origins levels into this new Rayman Legends Retold, and also remastering and remaking those too. So, yeah, it sounds like it's going to be quite the package. And again, Rayman really is good. I think it's one of those games that it didn't get the the recognition that it deserves. Like it's a really, really. I play a lot of platformers, Metroidvanias. This isn't a Metroidvania; it's just a straight up action platformer, but it's very, very good. So looking forward to it.
Yep.
Looking forward to playing
Yep,
it.
that's a big one.
Yeah,
That's a big one. Keep your eyes on it. Okay, next up, Xbox Showcase. I spelt this wrong. I use a lowercase.
you did. I do it. Not all capitals.
I did a
John.
lowercase. I'll just fix that here. Xbox.
Yes.
Interesting showcase. We're getting a lot of controversy over the decision to. Anyway, we won't get into that. That's not what we're here for.
Okay.
But anyway, so again, 2027 games. Let me run through it. Persona 4, the remake, or yeah, I think it's going to be a remake. 2027, Persona 6, being likely after that point. So also not this year. Metro 2039, confirmed for February 2027. So again, loading up the February out of this year. A new Senua game. So a new spin-off from the Hellblade series, 2027. Crazy Taxi, a new Crazy Taxi game was shown, 2027. We'll say that for 2027. New Spyro game shown, 2027. And Clockwork Revolution, which is one that we've talked about previously that looks really interesting, confirmed not coming this year. And then finally, some new games, one of which kind of a highlight, Magicians, The Devil's Deal, also 2027. Personal highlights there. This is again, they're creating the 2027 list. It's getting full real fast.
It really is. Yeah.
List.
No, I really like the look of Magicians, The Devil's Deal. I think might have been my highlight of show, that or Clockwork Revolution. I think continues to look really good. Persona 4 Revival. Maybe this is another contender for first overall pick. Certainly a first round pick
when remakes are allowed. Yeah.
If remake is allowed.
Remakes are allowed.
Yeah. The only other thing, I don't know if we want to talk AI, Crazy Taxi, and the AI that is being used. I mean, I think this is one of those situations where it was announced ahead of time, like far enough in advance, and I think that that's not a good thing for the game. I mean, I'm glad that they were, revealed it if they were going to be using it ahead of time.
Yeah, disclosure is important.
It is. Well, I guess we'll see, because there hasn't been very many examples of it being disclosed ahead of reviews. Maybe I'm thinking maybe there is examples and I'm just not thinking of them, but like oftentimes it seems like we find out a little bit after the fact that AI may have been used in some way, shape, or form. So they're disclosing it right up front. I suspect that's not going to be received well. People haven't been super happy about it. Hearing it being mentioned on the podcast that I listened to, it hasn't gotten a very good reception, and I suspect reviewers are going to feel similarly, regardless of how fun and how nostalgic the new version of Crazy Taxi is, and the fact that they got The Offspring in it. I don't think that any of that shit's going to matter, John. I think that this AI story is going to just follow it. Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting. So I was watching Jeff Grubb talk about it. I don't know. Like, to me, Crazy Taxi doesn't score that well anyway, from what I can tell. So it's not like I'm bidding on this anyway. Yeah. But as a game, as a bit of a test case, like canary in the coal mine, like watching how this narrative unfolds from now till next year, because that is a long runway. Like the way we are thinking about AI will have changed multiple times between now and when this game comes out. Clearly, the industry players are trying to normalize its use, and I think those that are covering it and those that even interact with this stuff and the smaller creators and the players, I think some players I think are rejecting it. So yeah, this is like another chapter in the AI narrative here, like, and how it's going to affect review scores overall. The industry wants it to be normalized, right? And for some time, I think, like, my read where things are right now is on some tasks, like, finding bugs in your code, it's very much fine. It's where it obviously is being used for artistic purposes. People have a real problem
So
with that.
sort of the
I can totally
creative
see
kind of
why.
aspect of
Yeah,
development. Yeah.
kind of like using the image and likeness of a dead person to boost the sales of your game.
Right.
And then, but the other part is, and I think this is the part where I want to speak about what Jeff said, is like him and Mike and Audie were talking about, like, they said that it's used to ideate, really, like the developers, the company said they were using it to ideate ideas for like stuff, right? And it's not used for the actual artistic pieces, just used, but even that now is becoming a bit of a scapegoat, kind of like, it's like you can't, I don't know, think of stuff. Like,
I
I
know.
don't know, isn't that your
That's your
job? Like,
job a little
so
bit, like,
yeah,
is to come up with
like,
ideas. Like,
yeah,
yeah.
I'm using AI to like edit my like correspondence, not, like draft the letter for me, right? Like, it's like,
Hmm.
yeah, tell me how I can make the sentence sound better, not, so I don't know if that is how that's going to play out, right? It's a different world. Like, I don't work in a creative space. But yeah, I will be curious to follow this story and just see how it actually plays out in terms of reviews. I think it'll be really illuminating from now till then,
Yep.
see how that all unfolds. And then that'll help inform when this happens again, and
Yep.
whether we need to be really cautious of
Yeah. Well, I mean,
how
we
this
didn't mention it. The other game that this bubbled up in regards to is the Tomb Raider remake.
Oh
There's
yeah,
some AI being
yeah,
used in that one as well. So,
yeah.
um, so
Shout out
yeah.
to PSVG and Donnie. Like, they've been saying that shit looks like AI since it was first shown.
Yeah.
I didn't actually catch that, but they've been. I think Sean has been saying it too. Like,
Oh,
they've
really?
been catching it. And I was like, yeah, I didn't really think that, but good for them. Anyway, lots of great games there. Kind of bringing back to a positive note here. These games look amazing. A lot of them. I don't know if they're all going to land in 2027. I think some of them are ripe for a slip out of the year. I was most excited to see Hellblade back. I'm a big fan of that
Mm,
series,
okay.
and
I didn't know that
yeah,
actually. Yeah. Okay.
yeah. Well, they're short, and I really enjoyed my time. I like one probably a little bit more than two. Interesting. Well, that's not true. Certain aspects of one more than other. Like, they had both had their strengths. So just see what they do next will be interesting. Um, Okay, so putting the 2027 stuff aside, let's jump into it because there's a ton here. Okay, maybe the biggest news, some of the biggest news of the day, Gears of War E-Day, dated for October 6th, which I think is well received news. It looked great.
Yep.
People didn't know if it was going to come this year, and they stuck the landing. Um, they are making it a console exclusive, which is interesting. And so after all the positive news, it's
Hmm.
like, listen, I'm not going to wade into the Xbox console wars stuff, but I have noted that the media is like questioning this like reversal of business decision. Those that are kind of in the Xbox camp seem to be very positive on it for the return of some exclusives, and then others are just wondering why, like this one, and it's confusing messaging, but that might affect overall scores. I doubt it, but you never know. You never know how this stuff leaks into the
Yeah.
zeitgeist.
You're right. You never know. I'd be inclined to think it's not going to play a big
I don't think
role, if
so either.
anything. Um, I
I think it's
feel
just
like,
commentators.
yeah, and
You know,
I mean, I don't, not to get again like you, not to get into it, but I do, I would agree that it's hard to argue that the messaging from Xbox has been all over the place with
Mhm.
for the last few years. They're reversing decisions, and I think like it just, but I don't know how much that at least plays into review scores for individual games. I think like it potentially has a negative cloud around
A little
first
bit
party stuff in general, but I think if
over a game that
Gears,
looks excellent.
yeah,
Like,
I think if
the
Gears
game
of War E
itself
Day,
looks great.
is a good game, I think it will get good scores. Like I think
Yeah,
it's pretty as simple as that, and I think it's looking to be a good game. I own
yeah.
this in one league, John. Um, Happy to
Same.
get a date, and I think I think it's prime for a score in the mid 80s. That's probably where
Yeah,
I'd put it right now. Yeah,
yep. Maybe hopefully with a little higher ceiling, but you never know,
yeah,
right? But I think you're right on the money.
yeah.
Yep. We didn't talk about this in the 2027 list. People were probably like, "Well, 2027." I just thought this was relevant here. Fable which a lot of people were banking on, which is not exclusive to Xbox. This is one
Right.
that's going everywhere, is slipping and delayed into 2027. So I think that was the other big piece of, confirmed news that affects probably people's
It has
current
gotten a
roster.
date since then too. I think like it's February something.
Is it
2027.
February? Yeah, I think this was also
I think it
the
actually has a
February
date,
game.
not just a window. But
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Okay. Keeping it going. Halo Campaign Evolved was shown, coming out in July, I believe. I think there is a new set, or either individual or multiple prequel missions. So maybe it'll get that reimagining tag. I don't think so, but
yeah,
for
I'd be
those,
surprised. I was doing a little bit of research on the kind of the reimagining, because I think I was looking at the whether or not Rayman would be considered a
right,
reimagining. So I
right.
was looking through the discourse over on the Fantasy Critic Discord, and it feels like the reimagining is a pretty high bar to
It's a high
reach.
bar.
Pretty high bar.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I'd be pretty surprised if Halo Campaign Evolved
Yeah, I don't think so.
meets that. But I'm still, I don't know, man. I don't know about
People
this
are pretty
one.
mid on this. People are mid on this. I'm a little higher.
Yeah,
Nostalgia, though. It's just
yeah. I
nostalgia and the
don't
way it
have any
looks good.
nostalgia for
Yeah.
Halo. I don't think I've never played a Halo game, so I don't have that nostalgia. But I don't think that there's that much excitement around it outside of perhaps like a very small core in the Xbox community, or maybe the play. Is this one's still coming to PlayStation? Yeah, or has it been?
Yes, because there was some other controversy. Yes, it is still
Yeah.
coming to PlayStation.
So
Yes,
maybe it's those
it's just
PlayStation
this and
people that
Clockwork Revolution that's exclusive. Yeah.
E-Day and yeah, that's right.
Sorry. Yes, E-Day and that. Yeah.
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 So maybe there's some PlayStation people that will be excited to get into, but it's I
Play.
don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like if those people wanted to have played it, they would have played Halo,
They would
the
have
first
played it
Halo
already.
by now. If they were really that keen. So I don't know.
I just haven't played it in 20 or whenever the hell it came out 25 years ago.
Okay,
Since it
yeah.
like that first. Yeah. So yeah. For Fantasy Critic, I agree. I don't know if it's worth the risk.
Yeah.
It's kind of gone already. I think it's already gone anyway. I don't think it's like one of those games that you can pick up necessarily.
Probably not. I think
in,
I think it might be available in at least one league that I'm in, but gone in most.
Yeah. This one I wanted to pick your brain on, this next one, Marcus, because I don't know how to rank this one. Resonance: A Plague Tale Legacy with an August date. So I think that was a little bit, I'm glad, like there were people that have picked this up in certain leagues. I think it's available in some others. Coming in August, thought it looked pretty good. I think the other Plague Tale games are like low 80s, 81, 82 in that range.
I think Requiem might be an 84. I think it might be an 84. Can you look it up quick? I'm gonna type
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Kevin, I think whenever
83.
I hear 83, whenever
83,
I think of Plague Tale, I think of Kevin Ainsworth. He loves these games. He talks about them. These are some of his favorite games. And I played the first one. I thought it was fine. I played the second one for a little bit. I was not in the mood, and I dropped it pretty quickly. But I don't know. I mean, I think like my hesitation with this when we had first heard about it was that there was, I don't know if it had said 2026 maybe, but there wasn't anything beyond that. So now that we have a date, I don't see any reason why this shouldn't score right in that low 80s range. If you have it, you're probably happy. I don't think it has a huge ceiling. But yeah, I feel like this is probably a pretty narrow range, like high 70s at worst, but probably low 80s.
Agreed. Next set of DLC, Doom Eternal. No, not Doom Eternal. Doom the Dark Ages expansion. That was a typo on my part. Doom the Dark Ages expansion coming July 7th. Again, I actually think like if they're gonna have to fill a DLC spot, this might be a good option right now. I think Doom the Dark Ages was pretty well received, and this looked cool. It probably will get, like, it looks like it's enough new stuff, new content, and new missions or levels that it will get scores. I'm hesitant to say that because I think Ghost of Yote is still waiting on DLC scores.
Yes.
But if you need to fill a DLC spot, this is probably worth it. I don't think I would go to this otherwise. I think
No.
you just have better options.
Yeah. I mean, if you don't need a DLC, I would not consider this at all. And it's,
Yeah.
again, it could be great. I worry too much about not getting scores and about it just being not what people want relative to the base
Yeah.
game. Like, yeah. So
Mhm.
I think that way too much volatility. If you need a DLC, maybe, but I'd have to take a look and even see what else. I put this over Mafia. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
That's fair. Yeah, that's a
yeah.
yeah. Okay. Minecraft Dungeons 2 got dated for September 29th, so we had seen this before. We got the date. I, we had talked about how this has got some bids last time when it was first shown. The first one didn't score so well. Has your mind changed on this at all? Like, is this on your list of like things that might need a
Hard pass. Another hard
consideration?
pass. Yeah.
Hard pass.
Yeah. No, the
We need a
first one
button.
scored a
We need like a
74.
noise
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. We need to add to the soundboard here.
soundboard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah. No, the first one scored a 74. This is a sequel. It's probably going to be right in that range, probably. I don't see this being a Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 situation, John.
No.
So yeah, no, you got lots of better options than Minecraft Dungeons 2.
Yeah. This is an interesting one. Valor Mortis, dated for September. However, this is taken in a few leagues, not all of them.
Yes.
They're still
Yep.
available in many. So it's an interesting consideration for pickup. But today, the developer was themselves wondering just what we were just talking about, which is that time period is now so full. Do they consider punting later? Potentially out of the year? December,
Okay.
out of the year? Like, who knows?
I definitely think that this game could get lost in that shuffle. Like this
Yeah.
is, I don't know. It's a third person. Is it third or first person? I think it's third person.
It's third person.
Kind of like dark fantasy setting. Like it feels like you don't want to be.
It's first person. First person.
It's first person.
Sorry.
Okay, but it's a dark fantasy setting, and so like I don't know. I feel like this has the potential to get lost among other bigger AAA games that might be doing dark fantasy anything like Blood of the Dawnwalker, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't think you want to be a smaller game. This would be like maybe like a Chronos: The New Dawn last year situation where it's a bit more of a bigger indie. I don't know if we would consider this an indie or double A kind of game, but that just does get lost in the shuffle. I mean, Chronos got enough scores to get reviews, but I don't think it hit the way that the devs really wanted it to.
Yeah, I'm more concerned with what the devs themselves are saying right now. Like that to me is like the risk of slippage, even when the game is ready, is like, ooh,
yeah,
right. So, okay, and then probably the most Fantasy Critic relevant thing they showed, maybe besides E-Day and Fable, was Castlevania Belmont's Curse is coming October 15th. So
we got a date. It looks great. Continues to look great. I think that
looks good.
Yeah, no, this is primed to
it's
do
gone.
Really well.
It's gone in all your leagues.
Yep.
Don't even bother. But at least we got a date.
If you got it, you're happy. You got your date. So good for you, because I don't have it in any of my
Excellent.
movies. Yeah.
Directly after the Xbox showcase, they had the PC gaming showcase. A couple things to mention here. Marcus, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, we can run through these pretty quickly because there's not too much. I don't think that's going to be really relevant for this year. So there is one called There Are No Ghosts at the Grand. We mentioned this recently. It got a Q4 release window. It's one of those games that I think Xbox had showcased it previously. So it's got a little bit of buzz around it. I don't think that I'm adding it or anything, or really seriously considering adding it at this point, but keep an eye on it. Q4. Virtue and Sledgehammer was showcased there. This is the Deconstruct team, Selkie Harbor. These guys had done Many Nights of Whisper last year. This one I think could outperform that. I think it looks really good. Still a 2026 window, so keep an eye out for, I guess, a date. And then we got a bunch of games that are TBAs or coming soon, that I think are things that you want to keep in the back of your mind. Cassette Beasts 2002. The first Cassette Beast game scored an 85. So keep an eye out on Cassette Beast 2002. Signet City, we've talked about. This is the developer of the Citizen Sleeper games. Their new IP. Looks like an RPG. It's listed as coming soon. I don't know, like Steam gives devs the option of doing like to be announced for a release date or coming soon. I always think coming soon is like sooner, but I don't know if that necessarily is true. I'd be pretty surprised. Citizen Sleeper 2 came out just last year, so I'd be pretty surprised if this is actually that soon, like as in 2026. But that's what it has on the Steam page, coming soon. Looks cool. Very different art style than the Citizen Sleeper games. I'm a huge Citizen Sleeper fan, as we've talked about a bunch of times on the show. So Signet City has my interest. Couple others: El Paso Elsewhere 2, another TBA in terms of date. But the first game, El Paso Elsewhere, scored an 81. And these guys, I'm blanking on the developer name, but they put out games at a pretty good clip. So keep your ears peeled for information on El Paso Elsewhere 2.
That game was a trip.
Yeah, you guys played that for
Strange Scaffold, right?
Strange Scaffold, that's it. Yeah,
yeah.
They put out a ton of games, like, so
the writing in that game though was just really strong. I mean,
Yeah.
gameplay and anyway, we don't have to
Yeah.
get into it, but I think the sequel to that could
be good.
Could do well.
Could do well.
I think it's going to exceed the first.
And a lot of these games are quite good. One of the ones that really jumped out at me was the follow-up from the devs that made Mouthwashing, and it's called Carcass Clad. Looks really interesting. Another horror style game. Yeah, it's tanks. That's what it is. I was blanking on what it is. So you're controlling a tank, and I think it's some sort of horror war situation. So yeah, Mouthwashing came out towards the end of 2024. No,
it was recent. It was 2 years ago.
No,
it feels like 2 years ago. It wasn't last year.
It was not last year. Yeah, no.
Yeah,
the end of 2024. The end of 2024 it came out. Yeah, I was right the first time.
Yeah.
So still, probably not this year. It's a TBA as well. But something to file in the back of your mind for sure.
And I just think, again, even if like a half of these end up being 2027 games, you're even starting to fill out that 2027 indie roster.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's just, and of what you listed, probably say 4 of them I want to play. So never mind Fantasy Critic.
Yeah.
Like, actually just like trying to find time to like, I still haven't played Mouthwashing, so that's on my list, right?
Yes.
So
yes.
recommend.
It's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. And just this morning, the Nintendo Direct. So this was announced yesterday. Nate the Hate coming through, not just with, him and not just with his predictions, but even with the date of the damn thing. Like, came this week as predicted. Okay. Same thing. Gonna try and run through 2027 or not this year games, because I don't know if we can say these are 2027. First up, Xenoblade Genesis, the next Xenoblade game. Pico Nico 2, Muramasa Revenant Blade, and not sure this is not, we can't say this is 2027, but shown at this Direct was Kingdom Hearts 4, which I think was a surprise to most everybody. So quite an interesting set. Xenoblade will be on the discussion, especially if it gets dated, on that kind of number one
100%.
first rounder list. typically Nintendo doesn't show things that are kind of slipping beyond a 12 or 18-month cycle. So
Yep.
yeah, it looked pretty good. It looked pretty good. You haven't watched this show yet, right, Marcus?
I have not. I just scanned through the announcements. I haven't had a chance to
Okay.
watch. I don't know that I will, but I don't even need to watch a Xenoblade trailer to know that this is a game that you want on your fantasy team whenever
Yeah.
it comes out. Yeah.
I rewatched it and it was pretty like just before we started tonight, and it was pretty stunning.
Yeah.
There's just some shots that they've got, right? Like obviously it's the standard thing you'd expect with like deep lore and characters and all that. But then there was like these visual shots of the land that they're existing in that were quite stunning. So yep. Look forward to that. Okay, let me try and run through some of this stuff so we can get to the meat of the direct. They opened with Rhythm Heaven Groove, which was a choice. Already known, July 2nd release date, I think, was not known. So that's good for those that had that. They were just waiting. Lock it in. I'm going to mention a lot of games that are kind of like Nintendo Switch 2 editions or versions of games that come with like the full set or new DLC. We'll talk about that in a minute, but like just stick with me. Dragon's Dogma 2 Dark Arisen, October 9th this year, which is interesting. Orbitals, which many people have on their team and we're waiting on date, was dated for September 3rd. Very good. Big Walk, which was that, I won't even call it Front Slop, but Front Slop style game from the makers of, was it
Untitled Goose Game? Yep.
Untitled Goose Game, August 4th.
Yep.
And then this next one. So of those, anything that you wanted, or should I keep going? Anything you want to talk about outside?
Yeah, there's not too much to say, I think, on any of those. Yeah.
Okay. This next one is new. One Piece Grand Gourmet, October 23rd. So new game, new announcement, date this year. No idea how this is going to review. Had no time today to look into this, but One Piece is very popular. Cooking games can be quite good. The scale of this game looked large, many characters, many different things. Probably not going to bid on it because I'm scared and I don't know what this is. But
it's a cooking.
There's a potential for this to have some, who knows, right?
Yeah.
Like if they do it right, it could hit.
Like,
but
it's a cooking game.
It's a cooking sim.
Just
game.
Cooking, like it's not RPG. I assumed I saw the title. I assumed it was an RPG because there was an RPG that came out, I don't know, last year or the year before, right?
No, it just uses the world, and it's just like it's lovely. It's a pixel art style.
Oh,
it's just so it's like One Piece in pixel art. So like even like it's just going to grab headlines for that. I don't know if it's going to do enough to like be Fantasy Critic relevant, but figured I'd mention it. DLC Pokemon Pocopia. I don't feel like I know enough about what the hell they're doing here to suggest. It looks like they're having a bit of like a release schedule over the next little while of expansion packs. Despite how good the game performed, I just don't know. And I apologize for that.
So risky. I don't know. It's so risky. Yeah.
They're doing one that's free in August, but then like today there was stuff that was coming out that you could pay for. It's just I don't know. I don't understand it. If someone can wade through all that, let me know if you think it's worth a bid, but I doubt it. Okay. Coming to like maybe the first big announcement here. So Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave dated for September 17th. This is the one we were waiting on. It's my number one pick in Division 6. Still looks good. I don't know. Hard to judge these things until the game is out, but still, it's Fire Emblem.
You got a date. That's what you wanted.
Pretty consistent. Yep. I'm gonna skip this. Next one, we got a new Vampire Survivors based within the Jujutsu Kaisen world with just a 2026 date. Again, leaning into using known IPs and then combining it with these other types of games. I don't know. I don't know how these Vampire Survivor like games typically score, but probably an avoid.
Probably. None have quite hit the highs, I think, in terms of scores as Vampire Survivors
the original
itself. Yeah.
Yeah. Then I have a list here of third-party games that are coming to Switch 2. Lords of the Fallen 2, Lies of P, Devil May Cry 5, Metaphor ReFantazio. and to going back to this list plus Dragon's Dogma 2, the reason I thought it was relevant to mention, there's a lot of like Switch 2 versions of stuff that comes out and then they get scores.
But is it
And they get
different than the like the original? So like if Devil May Cry gets scored, it'll in Open Critic it'll still go back to the Devil May Cry listing that it came out whenever it came
I
out, right?
remember, well, this is the thing. I remember there was that Yakuza game that came out on Switch 2 last
Mm-hmm.
summer, I want to say. And it included, and it was like the Switch 2 version. And I was just like, so there is no way for me or us or probably the world to decipher which ones of these are going
We'll get a
to
distinct
end up
listing.
getting scored,
Yeah.
right? Enough to that they warrant being scored and evaluated. But I figured I would mention it, especially in areas like I think Liza P is the complete edition. Lords of the Fallen 2 is just a day and date type thing, never mind. But Liza P, Dragon's Dogma, some of these are coming, I think even Metaphor might be coming with like enhancements, like their newer
Right.
versions or the complete editions of the game. Outside chance, I don't think you can.
Do you
I
think
don't
that
think you can.
these complete editions will be released on other platforms also as complete
I'm not
editions, or
sure.
do they already exist as release? Because I'm wondering, like,
Some of
if
them don't. Yeah.
right,
Dragon's Dogma was announced today. It'd probably come to other platforms. Um,
because in that
but
case,
it's
it
not,
might get a distinct review.
yeah,
That's
as an
not
updated version, as like a,
yes,
still
the
might be
complete
considered a
edition.
director's cut
Yeah,
or a version of the game or something. But
yeah,
anyway, I thought it was worth mentioning because there was a lot of that today. Obviously, it highlights the third-party support. Things like Onimusha were announced day and date for Switch 2, which I think is also relevant. Uh, Obviously, Capcom's been killing it. They've been finding ways to make those games sing on the Switch 2. Um, I think it just all adds to the narrative around Capcom games right now. So, anyway, the third party support was strong. I'm gonna guess there's something. One of these games is gonna come out with like the Switch 2 version, and it's gonna be like an 85, and we'll be like, oh.
yeah.
But I just don't think there's a elegant way to sort through all that. At least not right now. Same thing with Xenoblade. Yeah, my next note here is that they're releasing Switch 2 versions of all the
Of
Xenoblades.
all of them, right? And they're the
Some with,
complete editions and
yeah,
everything,
they
right?
kind of
Yeah.
have like the updates and everything. You know, if someone goes back and is like, I'm gonna like, I don't think that's gonna happen, but you never know. Um, so anyway, that took up a lot of time within this direct, but I thought I would mention it because it'll be a blindside for everybody. I know it was last summer when I saw some of those scores coming out, and yeah.
Well, do you know? Let's just stop on the Xenoblade stuff, right? Because the Xenoblade
Mm.
games score really, really well. Um, I seem to remember there being a listing for the Xenoblade 2 remake or unannounced, because our
Mm.
good friend and my co-host for BFAM, Quagmire, had I'm pretty sure he picked it up.
Mm.
And yeah, so like, do you? How confident are you that these games get original like listings and review scores? Because I feel like that's something, in
Yeah.
the chance that they're eligible in your league, you know, it's really just dependent on whether or not they get scored. Because if they get
Yeah.
scores, they're going to score well, all of them.
Yeah. It's
It's hard,
so
right?
with Xenoblade. No,
Yeah.
it's a loaded question, right? Like I don't know if I'm willing to take that risk, especially if you have narrow, like limited number of spots. So Xenoblade Chronicles has a definitive edition that was announced for Switch 2. From what I can see online, this is like a significant upgrade to the visuals. I think they're all now. I think was it this that they're all saying they're 60 FPS now? Like they're
Mm.
all enhanced visuals, gameplay, all that stuff is kind of. I don't know if there's like enough like content changes um, that people would go back and give it its kind of own entry. Yeah, it's six. They're all 60 FPS now. Um,
They're not being released as a collection, right? They're all individual.
Yeah, and like Switch 2 versions. So
Yeah.
that's why it gets a bit muddy. I could see us being surprised by something. Like I could see like a score dropping and us being like, holy crap. Now, truthfully, that's dependent on them being available, like you mentioned, on the Fantasy Critic website. So, if they're not there, then it's a moot point anyway. But, it's maybe something to keep an eye on. If people are starting to add them to the list, to the games list, you may have to take a serious look at that. I don't think there's an easy way to say this game is going to get the full review treatment. And that to me makes it too scary to engage with. It's not like some of these other Switch 2 games that have gotten content updates,
like Mario Wonder,
Mirabelle Park. Yeah, those that maybe seem like they've nestled into a space where they do get reviews, and you can kind of like maybe treat them as such. But I don't know. These ones, it scares me. I don't know.
Yeah.
It scares me I don't want to be.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, so I just took a look at the listings on the Fantasy Critic site, and there is a Xenoblade Genesis is on there now, and they have unannounced Xenoblade Chronicles 2 re-something as a listing, but nothing for 1 or 3. So
I guess you consider this the 2 re-something, right?
Presumably, I guess.
Yeah.
Because it would probably just be a remaster, because I can't imagine that this is reaching the remake level. But I suspect that listing will get changed to the Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Remaster, Switch 2 edition, or something like that.
Yeah. I'm sure, like, that's the thing, is like it could be a sneaky pickup for someone and you just want to be flanked, by this like, crazy score because it's performing better than the original. Hard to say. Hard to see how that'll all play out. Next game up, Switch Sports Resort. So this is the follow-up to Switch Sports. They're for Nintendo Switch 1. October 22nd release date. Another game just announced with a release date. I don't know. The first one didn't do so hot. These games don't do so hot, even though they're super fun. This one did look full of content for what it's worth. I still don't think it's going to tempt me to bid on it. I wouldn't suggest others do either, but crazier things have happened.
Yeah. I guess maybe. I don't know. I have a hard time
I'm saying like if
it
if it ended up scoring like a high 70 or an 80, like I wouldn't be like shocked, but I don't think it's worth the risk of where it could land if it doesn't deliver.
But that's the ceiling, is like an 80.
Oh, yeah.
A ceiling.
Yeah.
Absolute ceiling.
I would think so.
Yeah.
Hello Kitty Party Land, also coming in October. No idea what to do with this. Probably going to avoid.
Just unless
there's like a hidden.
There you go. Yeah.
We saw Star Fox again, still later this month. Still looks good for the most part.
I dropped Star Fox, John, in the one league that I had it. I swapped it out for Rayman, in fact.
So. Oh, okay. Well, all right. Well, yeah, I think that's fine.
Yeah.
That's probably the right move. Yeah. I should be more. That's the situation I find myself in. I have some of these big first-party type games that are holding me back from making a big move like that, Marcus. So, yeah. Okay, this might have been the most significant Fantasy Critic news of the entire Direct, outside of Ocarina of Time, which is we saw a new Final Fantasy game announced. So they told us that, anyway, Final Fantasy Resonance, which is an HD 2D like the next HD 2D Final Fantasy game, is coming out, and it was announced here, and it's dated also for October 22nd. Funnily enough, I think this, to me, is the one that is the biggest announcement of potentially the entire week.
I don't disagree.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe Raymond but that's also only eligible in certain areas, in certain leagues. And I think this actually has, because Rayman is a remake,
Yes.
or you know,
Yep.
I think this has some more heft to it.
Yes. Well, yeah, I
Thoughts?
agree. I think that this is the game of all of the games that we've talked about to this point, and the few more that we still have to talk about, that is most likely to be available, be eligible, score high, um, in of anything that we've talked about, like at the
Mm-hmm.
safe floor, um, high ceiling. You know, these are. It has all of that characteristic. It is, I think, loosely based or originally based on a mobile game, that a Final Fantasy
Oh,
mobile game, kind of
I did
like the
not hear that.
Octopath Traveler Zero. That's what I
Zero?
was.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So,
I did not know that.
um, but again, I was looking at in the Fantasy Critic Discord. I think that this is leaning, or at least the discussion seemed to be. I don't think Steve had weighed in at that point when I was looking, but that this would probably be a new gaming franchise, um,
I would think
or
so.
at worst a reimagining,
Yeah, I would think so. Okay.
because Octopath Traveler Zero. I don't know if it was a reimagining or a new gaming franchise, but it um, or new is it new gaming franchise? Is that what the tag is?
Yeah, that's the tagline
Yeah.
usually.
So
Well, no, it would just new gaming franchise used for new IP, so it'd
right,
just be like new
just
game or
yeah,
whatever the title is. Yeah,
yeah. So I don't know. I feel like, anyways, all this is to say that bid on this
game
game.
is coming.
Yes,
Bid
it's
on this game.
coming. Bid on it and bid a
Yeah.
decent amount of your budget. I think that this is the one that you want on your roster.
Oh boy. Yes. I gotta wait for those updates to be made. Yeah, this is gonna be the one. I think everybody.
Yeah.
It's the lock. So, we saw Dragon Quest Monsters again. Dragon Quest Monsters 2 again. Dated for December 3rd. I think the original scored to 73, if I'm not mistaken. So Dragon Quest Monsters was first shown, I think, I don't even know if we talked about it yet. It was shown at the kind of Dragon Quest showcase thing they did,
Yeah.
where they kind of announced the next Dragon Quest game, but they also showed this game. But it's coming December 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I don't think you can bid on this.
Nope.
But it's there.
Yep.
They showed Splatoon Raiders again, July 23rd. It's going to get its own direct on June 30th, so that'll be interesting. Duskbloods. Okay. Duskbloods. Shown again.
Yeah.
Still no date.
Yeah.
Closed test system this summer.
Well, still no specific date, but they still are saying 2026.
2026. Sure.
Yes.
Yeah. I compared it in some discussions with some of the Carpool gaming folks. I had compared it a little bit to the Metroid situation. We're going to talk about Ocarina in a second, but like the fact that it doesn't have a date, people were talking about October, November with these games. But maybe it's more of like a November, December situation, and they don't know where to slot things yet.
Yeah.
Until they exactly know how things are shaping up through this play test.
Yeah.
God, I hope so. I have I have Dustbloods in one of my leagues, so I need it to land. But yeah, I mean that was pretty big news. The fact there was no specific hard date.
The news was that there was no news.
Yeah,
no real news, anyways. Yeah.
And remember that September, the price of the Switch 2 goes up. So there is the kind of the summer lineup, and then there is the fall lineup. And the fall lineup is going to sell these things at a higher, at an increased price. So interesting how all these factors are going to play together. Deltarune Chapter 5 was shown with a June 24th release date. I always struggle with knowing how to approach Deltarune because of the chapters. I think they've typically been a pretty good. I think this was picked up early in the league. I think this was drafted by some, right? So, but I can't remember if the draft was chapters 5 and 6 or if it was just chapter 5.
Just chapter 5. I think 5 is the last chapter. I believe.
I thought there were 6, but I could be
Maybe
wrong. I haven't followed this. Yeah,
it's entirely possible. Another one has been announced, but I 5 was kind of like, I don't 5 is
Okay.
not going to be released with 6. Not 3 and 4 I think came out together. But
Yeah,
5
yeah.
5 I think is a
Standalone.
yes.
What do you do with this, Marcus? What are your thoughts on Deltarune? Is this worth a bid?
If it happens to be available, I guess. I really don't like I really did not like Undertale. I know that that's maybe not a popular
That's a
opinion.
hot take.
I really did
Oh
not
my
like
god,
Undertale.
this guy! You're not just not the you're just not the Nintendo guy. You're also
Yeah.
that's. I mean, I haven't
Um,
played them, so I can't talk. But that's a lot. Okay,
I know it is a beloved game, but so I had
so
no interest in Deltarune from the get go. I know
so
that
one and
these games have
two
taken
one.
forever to come out.
Yeah,
Forever.
they score really good though.
Hmm.
1 and 2 is like 86. I think 3 and 4 is 89.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
mean, if it's
So I mean, if you
available,
got it, you're great. I don't think this is available in any league. I think like
I
it
gotta
was
go back
drafted
and
and
check. I
everything.
don't think it. No, I don't think it's been. Has it been universally picked up? I gotta go back and look. Maybe you're right.
Yeah.
Maybe it's gone.
So
But anyway, if it's available, it's worth a pickup. So
sure.
make sure you're paying attention. Yeah,
Yep.
and you got to do it soon. Uh, June 24th is the date, and then finally, all the Nate the haters out there were proven
Yeah.
wrong as we saw it or saw part of it anyway. We saw Link. Zelda Ocarina of Time was shown. They talked about it. The word used was reborn into this world. Um, they didn't show much. It was a
Yep.
logo. It was a pretty significant visual change.
Hmm.
There was a significant visual change, voiceover, um, imagery. So there will be more. I know the internet's very upset right now that they didn't show more, but I expect there will be more. I take the lead that they need to kind of show and sell their summer games, and then their focus will turn to the fall. And at
Yeah.
that point in September, I expect we will see more of this, of Duskbloods, and I think I am very excited for this game, Marcus. I feel like I'm on the right track. I had this game in Division 6. I think I'm on the right track for reimagining. I think it's going to be a different story than for Star
You got your
Fox.
Zelda shirt on right
I
now.
got my
You're
Zelda. Yeah, got the shirt on. I'm ready to celebrate this game.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know. We don't know anything yet, except that it's coming, and theoretically, it's coming 2026. That's all they said.
Yeah.
It scares me for Fantasy Critic, but I think um,
Well, I
we
mean,
still have a lot
if
to learn.
remakes are eligible in your league, this is
Yeah, that's
probably
gone.
already
Yeah,
gone,
it's
right?
gone. Yeah,
It's
yeah,
probably already gone.
it was gone
Um,
since the rumor. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And you're happy. Like I didn't end up with it. I kind of missed the boat as I've been always a little bit late on Nintendo stuff and kind of like I think fully appreciating um the significance of some of these of their bigger IP. So I missed the boat on it myself. I do wish I had it, but I'd like a date, but I'm not. I think if you have it, wouldn't be super worried at this point.
Not yet.
And it's eligible. The Super League situation where only reimaginings count, then I'd be
Yeah,
a little more worried, but you know, you knew that going in. You knew that
yeah,
when you picked it up that it was a risky
absolutely.
proposition. Yeah. So
Oh yeah, yeah. So we'll see. I mean, this is where I get to the point of what we were saying before, which is while we've got so many dates, there are a number of games where the date has not been shown yet, including for other titles like At Fate's End, which we've talked about at length.
right.
There's others where we're still just kind of waiting. And if we're going to be waiting into the fall, having a bit of a roster of where you can swap things out if things slip is super important. But for me, I'm excited, not just from like it seems like it's happening. Like it's like this like real momental shift that like no one I don't think anybody actually thought. I know the rumors have been swirling for a long time. All the gamer fans always ask for this game to be redone, but it's always just kind of like, oh, no one. I don't think anybody actually thought they were going to do this. They're
Yeah.
actually doing it, which is I don't know. I don't even
This
know
is
what
the
to think about
Sony
this.
equivalent, like of a Bloodborne remake that's been talked about for years, and is
I don't.
always clamored
Yeah,
for. And like this is Nintendo's doing their version of the Bloodborne
yeah.
remake,
If
right?
Bloodborne was 30 years old, I like it's
Yeah,
this. Yeah, it's this crazy
it
moment in time. So overall, I think today's direct probably had more fantasy critic relevance than a lot of the things that were shown this week, especially for this year. We got dates, we
sure.
got some new stuff, we got confirmation of some rumors, and some new things to bid on. I don't know. Any kind of thoughts on that, on what we've talked about so far with this direct?
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't disagree. Like we were going through, and I think so much of like the PlayStation show and the Xbox showcase, it was a lot of it was cool, but it was not super relevant for fantasy this year. So um, there's a lot more that we are not so much. There wasn't a ton that you can act on because a lot of the stuff is already gone. Is it going to be sitting
Yeah,
on other people's rosters? But if you happen to own these games on your team, then um, then you're happy because you're getting a lot of dates for things that are
yeah,
coming out relatively soon. So
yeah. And I think last Saturday was a little bit slower. This podcast we expect will be out in advance of the bid cycle for this week's upcoming, which will
I'll get it
capture
out.
all of
Yeah, I'll get
Xbox.
it out before. I'm gonna have it. What day is it today? I'll have it out Thursday morning so that people that are
Okay,
doing public bidding can get it. Can
nice.
get their bids in and they can listen
Yeah,
to it quick. Maybe have to listen to it on 2x or something. Just make sure they.
two times speed.
Yeah, yeah,
But it's yeah, I think this weekend it will be a lot busier. I was
yeah.
actually like post Summer Games Fest was actually pretty quiet last weekend, so yeah, yeah, this is exciting stuff. So before we close out, I want to do a couple things. We have a couple questions that were sent in. One specifically from Samuel that reached out to us on Blue Sky, which thank you, Samuel. I want to bring in this question right now, which is release dates change up the game. Which games that have now gotten a solid date are the most sought after picks? Which is an interesting dynamic. That's a hard question to answer because, like, obviously there are some really heavy hitters that were gone in 100%. But I think we should focus on those that maybe are in the middle of the pack that are still available in some areas. I have some thoughts, but Marcus, I don't know if you want to kick us off in terms of things that you saw that now are a
Well,
little bit
we've
more.
yeah, we've certainly highlighted them over the course of the discussion, but I think it's useful to maybe summarize our thoughts in a way here. I think Final Fantasy Resonance is kind of number one with a bullet. I think Rayman, if it happens to be available, or not available, but like eligible in your league, that is right up there. If it didn't get snagged already over the weekend, um, and Silent Hill Townfall is one I think that has a decent chance to still be available. I think that's still looking pretty good. Just going off the top of my head here. Um, yeah, why don't you jump in here and give me a
Sure.
couple more that I've
Yep,
forgotten?
yep, yep. So those are the three. I had those three. The other ones I've been like doing a bit of a running tally on the things where we were like knock it out of the park, absolutely go
Yeah,
after it bids.
Star Wars Zero Company.
Star Wars,
Yep.
Zero Company is up there. Probably a Plague Tale, whatever
Hmm.
legacy, whatever the hell it's called,
If
the
that's
Plague Tale
available,
game.
yeah, I'd be curious what the
Yeah, if
ownership
it's
is on that one. Yeah,
I am too because I know
yeah,
that's been picked up in a couple leagues, but also I think people have been sleeping on it because it kind of became more visible later post
sure.
draft. And probably Deltarune. Although, like you said, it's probably gone. But now with this firm date and just it being in the ether so close, I think that's worth. So those are like the six. I think that's six that have dates now that I think are worth pursuing. Um, the other one, which we've talked about in the past, I don't know what the numbers are like it currently, but we've talked about I think Orbitals is probably gone. I don't think that counts in this list because I think it's probably taken in
Hmm.
all leagues, but Orbitals would fall into this probably a little bit. Big Walk now
Oh,
has a
okay.
date.
Yep.
You know, I don't know if I'm a little lower on it than these other titles, but I think it's showing well. It's landing in a quieter period. Um, could do okay. Um, so kind of second tier. Um,
just scrolling through the list here. I don't think there's too much else notable. A lot of the other stuff is definitely kind of on a level a little bit lower than that. So things like Apple Crumble, and which doesn't have a firm date, Screenbound, which we talked about, and Forever Ago, that kind of level
I
of.
think the other ones that you could be looking at is the stuff that we talked about earlier, potentially. Forever Ago, like you just mentioned, for sure. Planet Zoo 2, maybe. The one that I'm higher on for sure is Steins Gate. The Steins Gate reboot is, I think, one that I'm very high on. It now has a date. I know it doesn't kind of fall into one of these clean buckets or showcases, but I think that's, for me, is one that I'm higher on as well. Okay. And like that's my list. Like the 6 that we mentioned, plus a couple of these others, are the list of what I'm going after this weekend. Don't tell anybody.
Between you and me.
Yeah. So we have any final thoughts on the showcases? We have a couple other questions here that we can jump into as well.
No, I mean, there's a lot of news, man. I mean, we're pushing 2 hours here. So
2 hours of news, no other segments, just Fantasy Critic news. Yeah. So, I'm looking forward to the 2027 draft. Is basically my takeaway.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So let's. I'm just reading Nagachaka's question, who sent this in. How much should I bid on Astral Chain 2 when it's announced at the Nintendo Direct tomorrow? Okay, so that's a big L that was not shown. But maybe. Can I riff on this a little bit? Sorry, I know we're going long, but on some of these games that we talked about, maybe using that same 6 list without giving away your strategy here, do you want to talk about like what you'd be willing to spend, or the range, or even like, $1 to $4 signs, 1 being the low, single dollar bid, 4 being like,
on each of those 6 games that we talked about,
kind of 6, like where do they land for you? Like, Rayman is at the high end. Like, break the bank on Rayman. Probably break the bank on Final Fantasy Resonance, right? Like, those are the 2 where I'd probably be pretty high.
It all depends. So, when I was looking at bidding on Rayman this past weekend, like I'm looking at who is, all the people, we talked about this in our bidding strategy episode, who is still in our in the league. How many dollars do they have left? Do they have any open spots on their team? And like the league that I bid 27, the Tales from the Backlog League, I think there was only one other bid, and it was only a few bucks. I think it was my co-host Michael for Tiny Game Chronicles that bid on that. And it's like, did I overbid? Obviously, I could have gotten it for a lot less, but there was only a handful of, in retrospect, I probably did bid too much, because there were only a handful of people that had enough, that had more than like $27 left in their bidding budget. And they had a few empty spots, but they didn't have any other, all of their games were like indie games and stuff. So it was like the likelihood that they're targeting something like Rayman is probably on the low end. So like, these are all factors that you're considering. So it's hard to say. I'd be willing to, if Astral Chain 2 or a game like that happens to get announced, that's one that you do want to break the bank on, assuming it's got a date. Like the first game, I think, is right in the mid 80s. I want to say 85, 86, something along that. It's a sequel. It's probably going to be right in that range. Highly anticipated. If it happens to have a date, like if it had gotten,
it's not coming this year.
It's not. So this is the hypothetical situation. Like if it had been announced, it would be right in that range of Final Fantasy Resident, Rayman Legends, like that 30. I could, depending on the situation, John, if I've got a ton of budget, you could go to 60, 70. If you've got, if I happen to have, I don't know, $80 left and I have one spot, and it's a very restrictive league where I can't make a lot of transactions, why not bid it all? Like,
go for it,
or almost all of it. So
I'm in a situation like that right now, but I do have to think about if stuff slips. So that's also depending on like how many games you have still to come. Do they have dates?
How many drops are you eligible to make? Like if you can only make, like in Super League, we can only make 1 drop of a will not release game. That's it.
Yep.
That's I double checked the rules this
Yep.
weekend, so because I was trying to figure out what I'm going to potentially put a bid in for. And it's like, well, you don't have a lot of wiggle room. Basically, the games that you are adding to your team are going to be on your team the rest of the season, except for one. As long as it gets officially pushed, you can drop.
Well, not released. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And so in that situation, like if you've got there's not a heck of a lot of reason to hold on to extra budget. So
Yep.
bid as much as you want. If you got a lot left, you might as well use it and get the game that you want, because who cares if you've overbid and you spend $20 or $30 more than the next bid, because you didn't need your money. You don't get to take it home with you afterwards, right? Like you might as well use it. So, so there are a lot of factors when you're determining this, and it really is very situational. But for a game like a hypothetical Astral Chain 2 or these kind of big games, be open to going big if it makes sense within the context of all of those factors that we talked about.
Yeah, and of that list, I'm probably lowest on Townfall and Plague Tale, just because
I think that's fair. Yeah,
they could land probably in the low 80s, and I'd be comfortable with that. But like, you have to weigh that against how much you're willing to spend on those versus something like Rayman, which has a higher floor, higher ceiling, confidence levels higher across the board. So yeah, unfortunately, no Astral Chain 2. And then we do have one final question, also sent in by Samuel, but I want to separate it out a little bit. He's asking, what's one of the new demos that's made a good impression? Now, I will be completely transparent here. I've not tried any new demos, and there's been a ton.
I know.
I just haven't had the time. Between watching the showcases and then prepping for this, I honestly have not played anything. I'm just playing Mina the Hollower. That's it.
Oh, you play? I haven't heard. Okay, so we'll have to talk about that offline. That's
I'm like
great.
5 hours in.
Okay. Yeah. I am in the same boat as you. I have not played. I'm not big to play demos in the first place. I do play the occasional demo, for Fantasy Critic purposes, but I have not done that to this point. I do have one for Samuel though, because I've heard it being talked about in one of the Discords that I'm a part of, and that is for a game that's coming out later this summer. We were already a little bit high on it. We haven't mentioned it yet today. Toem 2. Toem 2 has a demo that just came out, and people are liking it that have played it.
Yes, I've heard this also.
There's a okay chance that might be available. I think that there are definitely a lot worse ads that you could make if you're looking for a game over the next couple of months. I don't think it has an official date, but it says summer this year. So
it seems like it's ready.
Yeah. Yep. So
no, that's a good flag. Yeah. And I think we're entering like Steam Next Fest soon or something. Is that coming up? Like,
probably. It feels like we're always around the corner from another one. There's going to be a big Steam Summer sale coming up in a few weeks as well. So there always seems to have something moving on. But
yeah, unfortunately, not big demo guys. Although we should be, because honestly, there are a number of demos for some of these games.
There's so many. It's so hard to kind of weed through it all. Yeah.
No, but I appreciate the questions. That's awesome. Thank you for listening and for sending in those questions. Okay, that's going to do it for us. I'm very tired now. I've lost all this. There's a lot there.
It's so much.
But I think this was helpful. This has helped me think about how I'm going to do my bidding this week. So
good.
That was Hype Factor episode 22. Marcus.
It was, yes.
Where can they find you? Where can they connect with you? Last thoughts.
Yeah, so you can reach out to me on Blue Sky at Marcus O'Neill 79. If you happen to be interested, I'm also on 2 other podcasts that I co-host. Tiny Game Chronicles, a bi-weekly show where me and my good friend Michael talk about a tiny short game every other week. And then BFAM, we've mentioned it already on this show, Brothers from Another Mothership. It's a monthly show where we talk about various video game topics. Most recently, we just released an episode where we debated and had a bracket for the worst video game features of all time.
Mechanics.
And I was not super happy with the results of that. I'll leave it at that. Yes. Was outvoted.
That was a wild episode. Like honestly, like I think that was like some masterclass of just wild, crazy podcast like breakdown and opinions. But it was great, amazing
Yeah.
fun. I let my feelings be known in the Discord today. So
Yeah.
and
As you should.
and I know that you and
Yeah.
I know that you and Michael covered mixtape last
We
last
did.
episode.
Yeah, we just did
So it was
mixtape.
awesome.
Mhm.
Yeah. So everybody go and listen. As for me, you can find me at John32 on Blue Sky. You can also find Hype Factor both on Blue Sky and X, where you can send in questions like Samuel and Nagachaka. And finally, if you've liked what you've heard from Marcus and I, please give us a positive 5-star review on your podcast player of choice. It is always much appreciated. Until next time, everybody, stay positive out there. Get hyped.
Remember, the information provided is for entertainment purposes only. Hype Factor does not guarantee the accuracy, completeness, or reliability of any advice or predictions offered. By listening to this podcast, you acknowledge that you are solely responsible for any decisions you make based on the information provided. We strongly encourage you to Fantasy Critic responsibly. And remember, this is just a game, and in no way impacts your status as a gamer. Hype Factor cannot be held responsible for any damages resulting from bad picks, drops, or overall Fs on your season.